So, and here we are. Keep continuing on this beautiful walk around the wheel, where we basically go through certain things that we are. This incarnation cross story. Who are we here to do, and what is really our job? Well, we ended up at the left angle cross of uncertainty. We are working on the 14th gate here, so let's see what they have to say about the 5-1 profile. The left angle cross of uncertainty, what a great name. I love this cross. It says so much about the empowerment business. It's like, here's the solid foundation. We have this ability to empower, and then who knows? It's like, who knows? It's what I said about the recognition of the 4323, that at the moment a miracle can happen. But it's also the recognition that any moment that the sky can fall. And the 14 really has that down. Arrogance, the ever present risk inherent in positions of power. Now, think about that line very carefully. Most 14-5 never get to experience this line because they never get power. They go to their grave trying to get the power so they can have their moment of arrogance. And of course, the dilemma of the not self is the arrogance the whole way. Ever present risk and in positions of power. You know, right away, most 14-5s come in and it's like, where's the power? I need to have the power. And there's the projection on them that they already have it and they don't. Cross of uncertainty, people get smashed a lot because you presume that somebody has power, you use power on them. Think about that. Individuals always need power. You cannot be an individual and not live in a power world where there's power confrontation. And when it's projected on you, you have a power, then you get it. And if you don't, you don't have it. And it's just an illusion. They don't you get it? For these beings, the 5-1s on this cross have difficulty. It's really to be a heretical caller, to have the power to call and not be crushed. This is one of the few heretical propositions. Uh, uh, where few heretical position where the heretics rarely ever emerge. These are the heretics that they stand up and before they can say anything, they get stoned. Shut up, don't say anything, we don't want you to hear it. It's very difficult for them. And most people think that this is a line of arrogance. It is what it says. But arrogance is also the byproduct of the retention and accumulation of power in the not self. And we all know that. You met any not self consciousness that has power or money, and they are in a pain in the ass 99 times out of 100, and you know it right away. There's a certain arrogance in them, but you don't get the arrogance until you get to the place. So these are wannabe arrogance. I want to be arrogant because that would have meant I have my power, I have my wealth. The exaltation is innate dignity. Dignity. The beauty of this line is to be able to have dignity regardless of your state. Power comes in many ways. For me, the 14-5 is the line of the beggar. And I don't mean that in a negative sense at all. We don't know this is the West because in the West we are so deeply materialistic that we see a beggar as a failure in life. We do. But there are many societies on the planet where being a beggar is a job. It's a job because there's no room for other job. You go to India and you've got a zillions of people. It's not like there's a zillions of job. It's a job. The whole thing about a beggar is that beggars are only interesting if they retain their dignity. Money isn't everything. It's just I have no power. I have no wealth. I'm at your mercy. I'm fine. Thank you. I have no power. I have no wealth. I'm at your mercy. Remember that one of the deeper things about the 14 is that there is here to empower for the benefit of humanity. There's a material life. It's here to provide the material opportunities. We got a much more better on this planet in trying to provide material. We actually provide material opportunities for more people than we ever in the history of the planet. It isn't to say that it's great because we also had this vast expansion of population, but in pure numbers, what we've been able to do on this material track to benefit humanity. So the opposite of this arrogance is this dignity to be powerless. Of course, this is one of the great heretical teaching. I teach it myself. Powerlessness is grace, and I have been a beggar. I begged on this island, really, truly begged. I know what it is like to beg and not to lose your dignity and to see how much power that actually brings to you. It's quite amazing. So, this is a very complex life, like all the left angle processes. There are mysteries in them because it has to do with its interconnectivity, with the geometry or fractal of others. And so much of what happens to a 14 in their life is about who it is in their life and the opportunities that may arise, the possibilities that may be there to learn about power and wealth. Not all are giving such opportunities in this life. So then we go to the 5-2 on the light and the cross of uncertainty. One of the things that is part of the dilemma for the 5-2 particularly is that the 5-2 looks at the world around it and sees that those who have wealth and have power are basically incompetent. And we come to a great heretical principle. Whether one has health or poverty is a choicelessness and not a responsibility, not fault, not a law, not a result of this or that, not a matter of cause and effect, not a matter of karma. And of course, it's only the heretic in this line that can actually present that, because the 5-2 better than anyone on this cross of uncertainty knows this deeply. There's these old stories about the man who walks into the desert and everything blooms, the person that walks into a garden and everything dies. What to do? This is the 5-2. It says, why should I bother? It is God's grace to give me wealth and power. I will wait and see. And this is one of the deepest religious themes that run in individuality. There are no lot of religious themes in individuality. This is one of the most powerful streams running through this particular fifth line. And it is this theme that says, it's clear to me that I can't get the power that I want to try into that. I can't get to the wealth that I want by trying to get it. And I realize that no matter what I do, and I can get it. So I'm going to have it. It's going to be God's grace. There are people that go to the lottery. This is the lottery of the Babylon people. These are the ones that are always wanting for the miracle. The gods are going to shine, and suddenly I'm going to get room from $5 an hour, and I'm going to be a bazillionaire. This is one of the calls. But the other sides of it is much level of consciousness that recognizes this limitation, and in recognizing this limitation, surrenders to the dignity of place, which is where I go back to the beggar. That's the extreme, obviously. To return to the simplicity of the acceptance of place. This is also part of our direction. Not everyone is here in the genetic mutative strain to get in this and that. Not everybody gets the gold. There are always people who get the silver and the bronze. There are always those who are out there running. It's just the way it is. So here, particularly in the 5-2, because the 5-2 can't understand at a certain point why there is no motivation inside of it. It loses its motivation. And remember that we're dealing with the transition profile. So we're dealing with the dilemma of the six color personality and the first color design. So there's a certain infirmity that is possible within the vehicle itself. In other words, the limitation of the excuses. I could have, but I didn't have the eyesight. I could have, but I had the wrong body. I could have, but I could not have it, and then try to surrender to it. Now, in the not self, that surrender could be powerful. And after all, this is a deeply melancholic channel. It's a deeply melancholic gate. And to really see that for so many of this, the cross of uncertainty, that uncertainty itself is a reason for depression, instead of the recognition that uncertainty is a principle, is one on the scene. The uncertainty principle, it is there. We don't know, and only do we don't know, but we can control. And so ultimately, here in this left angle is the beginning of what is unique, transcendent quality of accepting surrender to what is. So accept the surrender to what is. This is what you need to do.